just not sure how to reconcile this.
Did you tell him?
Did you reconcile with our father before his death?
Captain, I'm finding it difficult to reconcile the man on this piece of paper with the one I'm looking at.
Hey, welcome. You're here for another Talk Word Explainer, and today we are tackling a really useful word in English, reconcile. So let's just dive right in. So let me start with a question for you. What do you do when two things just don't fit? You know what I mean? It could be a friendship that's a little broken after an argument, or maybe two different numbers staring at you from your bank account. It could even be two ideas that seem to completely contradict each other. How do you get them to line up again? Well, that's exactly where our word comes in. All right, here's a quick look at where we're headed. First, we'll talk about why I call this the harmony word. Then, we'll see how it works with people, with numbers, and even with ideas. And at the end, we'll tie it all together. Pretty simple, right? Okay, first things first. Let's break down why reconcile is basically a harmony word. At its very heart, it is all about finding agreement and, restoring balance where things felt off or in conflict. So if you look up the official definition, you'll see it kind of has two sides. The first part is all about people, restoring friendly relations. But the second part is about information, making things like ideas or facts or, bank accounts consistent, making them match. Let's start with the one we probably all know best, our relationships. This is for sure the most common way you're going to hear reconcile used in just regular everyday chats. Just picture this. You've got Maria and Sam. They had a fight, and now, awkward silence. They haven't spoken. If they want to fix that friendship, what do they need to do? They need to reconcile. They've got to find a way to come back together and get that friendly vibe back. So how does that even happen? Well, reconciliation usually has a few key ingredients. It might mean someone has to say they're sorry. It almost always means both people have to actually listen to each other. And then there's forgiveness. See? These actions are what take a relationship from conflict back to harmony. All right, now let's do a complete 180. We're jumping from that emotional world of friendships to the super practical world of numbers and money. It sounds totally different, I know, but the basic idea is exactly the same. You've probably done this before, right? You look at the list of what you think you spent and it says one thing. But then you pull up your official bank statement and, it says something totally different. The two lists don't match. They're not consistent. You, my friend, need to reconcile your account. So what do? You go through line by line, transaction by transaction until you find the problem. Maybe you forgot that coffee you bought or there was a hidden bank fee. You make the adjustments until, boom, both records match perfectly. That final correct number that everyone agrees on, that is a reconciled balance. And now for what might be the trickiest use of the word, but also maybe the most interesting. How in the world do you reconcile two ideas that seem like they're total opposites? This is all about finding a kind of logical harmony. Think about this classic debate. On one hand, you always hear things like early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? But then you also hear artists and writers say their best, most creative work only happens super late at night. So which one is it? How can both possibly be true? The real challenge here is to reconcile these two views. And that doesn't mean you have to prove one is right and one is wrong. Nope. It's about finding a way for them to both exist. So maybe you realize different people just have different productivity clocks, or that different kinds of work are better for the morning versus the night. When you find that common ground, that's it. You've reconciled the ideas. Okay, let's bring this all home. We've just walked through three really different situations where you'd use the word reconcile, but the core idea, the mission of the word, is always the same. So we saw it with relationships, right? Mending those connections between people. We saw it with finances, making sure the numbers actually agree. And we saw it with beliefs and ideas, finding a way for opposites to make sense together. One single word working in three huge worlds, doing one powerful thing, bringing things into agreement. And that really leads me to my final thought for you today. As you go about your week, just keep this word in the back of your mind. Is there maybe a friendship that could use a little mending? A budget that feels a bit off? Or even a couple of ideas you're wrestling with? What in your world needs reconciling? I really hope this explainer helped you get a solid grip on the word reconcile. And hey, if you enjoyed this and you've got ideas of your own you'd like to explain, you should absolutely check out the Talkword app to create your own. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.
What if you and your wife reconcile?
You're referring to Kermit, but I'm ready to reconcile my debt.